Learn more about the albums you love with Dissect, a music analysis podcast hosted by me, Cole Kushna, a lifelong musician and composer. Each season of Dissect dives deep into a single album, forensically dissecting the music, lyrics, and meaning of one song per episode. Our newest season is covering Tyler the Creator's Igor, a beautifully honest album in which Tyler explores love, communication, masculinity, and truth. Listen to Dissect today only on Spotify, because great art deserves more than a swipe.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements. So many other couples we didn't see them coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. Welcome to Bachelor Party. I'm Juliet Litman, and I am delighted to be joined today by Susie Evans. Hi, Susie.
Ooh, hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I feel like that you don't feel this way, so don't worry. But okay. I feel like I'm like seeing a friend who I haven't seen in months, and I'm like excited to catch up with because like when you're on the show, you're like part of like my week, you know, and also because I cover the show. Like think about it a lot too. So it's like Susie was in my life for a few months and then she disappeared. So Susie, great to see you. How are you?
Oh, good to see you, old friend. Oh my God.
Thank you.
So happy to be here.
I'm adjusting my seat. Don't be freaked out.
No worries. I'm
Susie, where are you right now?
I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm at Sierra Jackson's house. She was on Clayton season with me and she's actually making the bed right now.
Nice. This is a very pro Sierra podcast.
Yes, we love to hear it.
Yeah, me and my co-host most of the time, Callie. First of all, Sierra has the most incredible skin we've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, get this. She just did a whole, like it took us almost 30 minutes, but
wow.
We did a whole morning skincare routine. As you can see, I'm a puffy girl. Like I
can't see it, Susie. I think you look good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But like Sierra keeps it real. And she's like, you need help. And so like, I'm not kidding. It took us in reality, it took us probably 15, 20 minutes, but she was like putting serums on my hand. I was dabbing, like there were probably 10 steps to it. And then we'd have to like let it dry in between. And I was like, well, no wonder you look this wonderful. Plus she's just stunning. So
yeah, beautiful
hopefully
woman.
By the time I leave, I'll be better.
By the way, if Sierra would like to join, I welcome her. I don't know how you feel, but if she wants to jump on, we would love to have her.
Like, feel free. Come on over.
Yeah.
She's
why not?
Here.
Hi,
I'm Juliet. How's it going?
Hi, Juliet. It's going absolutely wonderful. I'm over here making the bed, doing my wifely duties.
She got me coffee this morning. I was like, oh,
wow. So Sierra is not only a seemingly wonderful person, but also a great host. Wow.
Thank you so much, Juliet. I try.
Yeah. And she keeps in place too. She's like, put your stuff over here. Oh, my shoes are on still. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
You're good. No shoes on in that house.
Oh my God. I forgot.
Okay. Noted. If I ever come over, I just want to say, Sierra, it seems like you're doing great. So you don't really need this, but I just want to say we were really disappointed with everything that went down in Paradise, not on your behalf, but thought that you were incredibly classy and deserve a lot more. So I hope you find happiness and I hope you thrive.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I got me a man's now.
Yes.
So
Nice.
I'm very, very happy and very lucky. And so I think that karma's real. Everything happens for a reason. And sometimes you have to go through the troughs to get
to the gold.
The gold.
Yeah.
Very great. Well, standing invite to come back to the pod if you're done making the bed, whatever you want, Sierra.
I'm going to be cleaning and working.
Okay.
I'll chime in though. If you need me
Yes.
to, I can chime in.
Okay, great. Well, this is honestly really fun. So Susie, like one of the things I always ask is like, who are you close with in the house? But clearly it's Sierra, among others. What's like, what is that camaraderie like? Because I feel like with Clayton season in particular, it felt very like it was clear there were some friend groups, but I think and some good friendships. So we didn't really get to see it because it was so much more about how Clayton was sort of like dividing the women, which is inherent to the show. But obviously, just like the way that he handled himself at the end was very I can't think of the word because I haven't had enough coffee. Divisive, complicated. Anyway, so what's that camaraderie like? Like, you know, you're with the women way more than you're with Clayton, or you were while you're on the show.
Oh, I felt way closer to the girls than I did with Clayton, even by the end. Like, I think that from the get-go, there was so much camaraderie amongst the girls. And even if there might have seemed to be divisiveness in the house, there really wasn't that much. Like, of course, like the screen time like played into any divisiveness that there was, but like ultimately, like there wasn't like a ton of drama amongst the women. Of course, there was like the story arc of like Shanae in the house, and that was like played up a lot. But like for the most part, I can think of several times that we had just so many intimate, like beautiful moments as women behind the scenes, like even girls that I wasn't like particularly close with. And a lot of that, I feel like I was closer to the girls that were my age. So like Gabby, Marlena, Sierra's a little bit younger than us, but the three of us and Hunter, like at one point was really close to like in that group, like we were very, very, very close. And then I feel like there was kind of like a younger dynamic, and maybe that was even just because of like their style. And I don't know, maybe the age, I feel like there was kind of like the younger groups and then like the older group, but
sure,
all of us were close. Like, or I would say all of us were friends. So the camaraderie was great. It made for a really fun experience. Like my experience was wonderful up until it wasn't. So I always say that I kept saying every single day I would like cry daily, not like overly, but every day I would get emotional because I was like, how am I so lucky to be here? Like everybody's amazing. Like the experiences are once in a lifetime. And yeah, there's like a ton of crazy stuff that happens and you're exhausted and it's emotional. But like at the end of the day, I was like, I'm literally traveling the world with like a group of girls, just like living our best lives. So
do you get to like sightsee at all while you're not filming?
Not really. I think they do that because they don't want tons of spoilers to get leaked, but they do. Like when we were in Hvar, they like took us out for like a walk at one point in Croatia. Yeah, that was really cool.
Was it warm?
Hvar, I remember it being chilly when it was cloudy, but like technically it was kind of warm out, kind of like California. Like
yeah.
You need a jacket.
It's a real bummer to not be in Hvar in the summer, I would say, with free reign to just like jump in the water. It's like definitely high on my list of places to go to.
Oh, Gabby and I did jump in the water, and yes, we didn't make it, but it didn't make the air. But that was my favorite moment of the entire season. Like, because we weren't going to do it because it was kind of scary. It was like in the ocean or the sea, I guess.
Yeah.
And, but the water was crystal clear and there were these boys playing water polo, like around the area that we were at. And we were like, no, we're not going to do it. And then somebody from the crew was like, you will never get the chance to like jump in the Mediterranean Sea or whatever the sea is. I think it's a different sea, but
I think it might be the Adriatic. I'll look on the map while we're talking.
No, it is definitely Adriatic. When you said that, it rang a bell. But they're like, you'll never get a chance to do it again. So just do it. Jumped in and it was a magical moment for sure.
That's awesome. So are you close with Gabby?
We were very close on the show, but I think, life just takes you separate ways.
Sure.
And so we don't really keep in touch as much, but I love her and we had so much fun and she's like a big part of my happy memories on the show.
Interesting. So what's it like navigating feeling really close to Gabby when she's also, with you in Iceland and you're trying to figure out like how you feel?
Oh yeah. So, well, it's tough because you don't get to spend a ton of time with the girls. At that point, you're brought together to have conversations or whatever. But I think for me, I felt like I felt just completely, I felt separate from my relationship with her than my relationship with the Bachelor. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody, like it's like my relation, that's how you have to separate it because, at least to stay sane for me, because it's like, I didn't want to say anything to Clayton about the other relationships that was going to affect how he moved forward in the process, that was going to affect their experience. But at the same time, like I have to stay true to myself. So, Gabby was really, really great to have there, to be honest. Like she helped me in a lot of ways through like some of the toughest moments when we were out there. And I just like trusted her through and through. I was like, I just trust that she's a good person and that she's going to, respect and have my back. And I think she did. So I'm glad.
That's She seems like a good friend to have. Well, it seems like she values friendship. I don't know if she is a good friend, but it seems like she values it at least.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, have you spoken since she's been on The Bachelorette?
We've had a couple of text conversations, but that's about it. That girl's
Is it awkward at all?
Not for me, that I know. Like, I don't feel like it's awkward, but we also haven't really talked on the phone at all. So, I think she's just like on the go, rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So who else do you still hang with in addition to Sierra?
I was just in LA with Marlena. And then trying to think of who else we saw really when we were out there from the show. I think it was just Marlena and Sierra. Sierra, was anybody else with us? I'm trying to remember. Oh, we saw Sam at that party.
What about Rachel?
No, I haven't seen Rachel. I think she lives in LA, but she didn't go to any of the events that we were at least while we were there.
What were you out there for?
We went out there for it was like a reality TV party. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name anymore, but
I think Johnny Bananas went to that. Did you meet Johnny Bananas?
Maybe, but I bet
he's from the challenge.
Okay, I might have met him. I definitely met some people that I didn't know their names because I was like, or I didn't see what they were like from, or you like meet them and you're like, oh, I don't know what you're from. Yeah.
What's it like being grouped into this reality TV world? Like Bachelor aside, and I will say actually one thing that we've noticed The Ringer, because we cover like all of pop culture and sports. The Bachelor's a really discreet audience. Like people who watch The Bachelor don't necessarily also watch Bravo, don't necessarily watch The Challenge. Like there's more overlap in other pockets of the reality TV universe. So what's it like being thrust into like the public eye and also like very specifically part of like reality TV people?
Oh, well, this was like my first taste of it really, because I pretty much like left the show, went back to Virginia and stayed in Virginia the past year. So it was really fun. I mean, I think that you kind of have a shared experience with people. You have like common ground off the bat just because like you were exposed to like an audience or you had a unique experience and you kind of like have, this commonality off the bat. But I had so much fun. I mean, meeting all those people at this party, it was very exciting and very fun. And like everyone, and I think that to an extent, like if you go on reality TV, there's probably an element of like-mindedness where you're like, you have an open mind to certain things, or you're maybe even a creative, or you've got like ambitions outside of just being on reality TV. So it's been fun, but this was really my first taste of it.
Do you want to do more? Like, are you like, I want to be famous?
Oh, do I want to go back on reality TV or something?
I don't know. Like, do you, there's like this concept of like Bachelor Nation, which started as a joke and now is like kind of real. Like, do you want to be like a recurring active part of that? Like going to like, the Revolve parties and going to Jingle Ball and sort of like on the circuit?
I mean, honestly, I would be open to it, but I think more than anything, like when I was out in LA this past week, I met so many cool people. And I think that like ultimately my goal in life is like, I want to have a production company. I want to make documentaries. I want to meet interesting people, share stories of adversity. Like that is my goal. And I'm going to utilize just about anything that I get from any of this to do all of that. Like people I'm meeting, like even at the Revolve event, like I first walked in and I don't know if Sarah felt the same way, but I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like everyone was kind of like in their own little pockets and stuff like that. And like, there was a Ferris wheel and it was like no solo riders, but we were a group of 5. And I was like, well, I'm going to go find somebody. I went up to like 3 groups of people and like nobody would come with me on the ride. And so finally I met this girl and I was like, no pressure, but like, I want to go on the Ferris wheel. My friends are going. Will you come with me? And this one girl was like so sweet. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And like, we like filmed it. We had so much fun. It was like such a nice like moment for us. And then I felt like at that moment, like the energy shifted and we just started attracting like all these really nice girls that were like coming over to our group. We met like all these cool, just like amazing people. We met Christy, and I always forget her last name, but she was the Sports Illustrated model who had alopecia. She was like the first bald Sports Illustrated model. And then she like came to a workout class with us in the morning. So, I mean, I 100% am open-minded to the idea of like networking, meeting people who are ambitious, people who like want to change the world, who want to do something good with whatever it is that they've been given. And if that means like networking at cool events and stuff like that, like I'm all about it. Like I feel like I can make fun out of anything. So like, it doesn't matter what the event is. I'm like, I'm going to meet the good people and I'm going to take them with me.
I think you're talking about Christy Valdesari, who...
Yes.
Yeah, which that's really cool. Who was the woman who went on the Ferris wheel with you?
Her name was Ashley. I don't remember her last name either. We were friends on IG, but I have her tagged on my Instagram. I have her tagged on the
We'll find it.
Instagram. Yes. She was beautiful. Actually, I could probably pull it up too if you're wanting her.
All good. You know, I can multitask, no prob.
Okay.
What kind of documentaries do you want to make?
I would love to do. I would love to do anything just like storytelling, stories of adversity. I used to kind of do like just like passion projects where I would just like literally interview people for kind of like the experience of like gaining filmmaking experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 10, 15 minute long pieces. Like I did a little spotlight on my little sister who was in foster care for 7 years before my parents adopted her. And she's just like one of the most, what would be the word? Somebody that's like overcome something. She's just so resilient. Yeah, exactly. She's very resilient.
Thanks, Sierra.
Yeah, thank you for the help there. She's very resilient, and like somebody like her. I mean, she's a nurse. She lives a normal life, and she's like just this wonderful human being. But I'm like, I think that her story is so interesting, and I want to tell her story, and I want to give her the chance to like narrate it and see it back and like let other people get insight to it. And this was like a couple of years ago that I did that for her. But yeah, I think just any story of adversity where, especially like women, I think there's so many amazing women out there that are doing really cool things. And it's just like a matter of like meeting them. And when you meet them, like I always think, I'm like, I want to tell your story. I haven't asked Sierra yet, but I'm like, I want to do like a little video with her before we leave and get her on my blog, just because I think she's such a strong, like powerful woman, and she has helped like so many of us. So she's over here making faces at me. But yeah, I think there's just so many amazing people that you meet. And it's like, if I have any kind of platform, like I want to use that platform to highlight other amazing women that are doing cool things.
Very cool. What are you doing now? Like, I know that you were a videographer, and like, what's your source of income right now?
So right now I have my videography business, Susie Evans Media, and I am doing I was booked for my last wedding, but then I picked up one more because I can't stop working because that's just who I am. So I'm doing a New Year's wedding in Pittsburgh.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never done a New Year's wedding before.
I've been to a New Year's wedding. It's awesome because you have plans and you don't have to stress about it. And you're just like, I'm set.
Low-key, I did not have plans for New Year's. And I was like, do I give up my New Year's? And I was like, what am I going to do on New Year's? So I took the wedding. I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I still have my videography business. Right now I have like 10 travel/destination weddings booked next year. And that's all I have, which is a little scary. Cause this year I did 22 weddings. I guess 23 after, this next one. But, yeah, I think that I knew that there was a possibility of moving with Clayton and I, and, I didn't want to book too many weddings in Virginia. I just have one right now in Virginia that I booked way before. So I'll like obviously stand by that, and I've committed to that, and I'll fly back for it. But I just have like 10 travel weddings, and then I'm kind of hoping to break into the Palm Springs, California wedding destination scene. I hear it's like a really big wedding area. So that's
It
kind of the
is.
plan right now. Yeah. So, but I have one contact there. She's a photographer. And so that's kind of the plan is like, I'll try to break into that scene, and maybe get another 10 for next year, hopefully.
How fascinating. Are you
Yeah.
moving to LA?
I am. Yeah. I was back and forth about debate. I was debating it. And then I was there this last week and I was like, okay, I met so many good people, like literally so many amazing women. And I just did not stop having amazing conversations, like networking. And I was like, this is definitely going to be a good move for me, even if it's temporary. I'm doing 2 temporary months, like at a furnished place. And then like, I'll go from there, you know?
I think if you want to be a filmmaker, it definitely makes sense. I mean, you got it. It's like, you know, going to the mountain.
Yeah.
The Palm Springs thing is really funny. I feel like you just probably need to like hang out at a couple of the hotels and like talk to people and be like, "Oh, you're looking to have your wedding here? Well, I'm a videographer, so I'd love to do that."
That's actually so smart. Yeah, I need to go like give my business cards to the event there at some hotels or something. Just like make a little trip and do some rounds there.
Yeah, seriously. You know, it's so funny. Like, I'm curious what it was like for you to watch the show.
Yeah.
When you are making your own, you know, like you're telling your own stories focused on love and marriage. Like, so what was it like for you as like an aspiring filmmaker and a current videographer? Well, I don't mean to denigrate you in any way.
No.
But like, but like, what's it like watching the show when you are doing work that's similar and you aspire to be doing unscripted work as well? Like when you watched it, did you get ideas? Like, what was that experience like?
That's a great question. I've not gotten that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Talk about my passions. It was really interesting watching back. I think that there were times when it felt like the weight of the world, especially because I knew what happened as things like progressed. I knew how it was going to end. And I was also like figuring out if I wanted to actually be in a relationship with Clayton. Like we weren't officially together after the show. So, or we weren't together after the show. So, it was really, really, emotional at times, but, I would actually do little watch parties with friends. And sometimes I would be so annoyed because I'm like, oh my God, I can't hear anything that's happening. But honestly, it was for the best. Like looking back, like I haven't rewatched a single episode because I get the ick. I am like, I can't go back and watch this. Literally makes me crawl out of my skin. Just like the whole thing. So it was better that I was like watching it in a distracted state of mind. But as a filmmaker and like as a videographer, it was interesting to see how like I was there for events that occurred and then I'm like, oh, this is how it played back. that's interesting. Like this is the narrative. So, which is like all of the narratives have some element of truth for sure, but it's just like, you know, there's your perspective, their perspective, and the truth. So like, I think that was interesting to see how it was like played out in a reality TV scenario. But, I think like being a wedding videographer, like it has given me some ideas where I think I could like change my style a little bit to be even more like documentary style, which I would love to do. I'm just nervous to do my first wedding like that. Like I'd have to do it for free because it'd be like a whole new style where I'd be like, oh, let me just do this for free. And like, if it turns out horrible, so sorry, you know, like, but at least you're not paying for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that it's definitely given me some ideas of how like I could do more unscripted stuff and incorporate it into my style of wedding videography.
Yeah. How did you get into that, by the way?
I was a film major in college and I always wanted to do documentaries. I used to want to be an underwater documentary filmmaker. So like I wanted to be like somebody in like scuba gear with like a camera.
Oh my God, Susie, I have so much to say about that. Have you watched James Cameron's Secret of the Whales on National Geographic?
No, but I'm scared.
Oh my, no, you just should watch it.
Okay, it's good.
It's awesome.
Good. Okay, good. I thought you were going to say like something scary because like that's ultimately what has prevented me is that like I love the ocean, but I realize that like when I go into the depths, I get some bad anxiety. So I shouldn't be holding a camera.
I also love the ocean and I'm obsessed with like ocean documentaries. I also highly recommend Shark Beach with Chris Hemsworth, also on National Geographic. I basically talk about this on every podcast now, but I love all the celebrity vehicles on National Geographic. So, but they're legitimately good. And the ones about like documentaries about whales, I just find to be like so soothing. So it's like putting out, it's like a weighted blanket or like Xanax for me. I'm like, this is just
I
so
love
great.
that. That's amazing. That's the best descriptor of like a whale documentary. So count me in. I'm going to need you to like text those over to me so I can watch them next. But
no problem.
But yeah, that's how I got into it. I studied film. I wanted to do something completely different. And then I was a production assistant after college / waitress, because that's what you become when you're a film major.
You don't need to, there's nothing to whisper about that. I mean, you got to work, right?
Yeah.
I support it.
I was waitressing last year, even like when I first, I quit in 2020, my corporate job. And then I started my video business, and then no weddings happened in 2020 because of the novel coronavirus, if you've heard of it. And then I went back to corporate and then re-quit in 2021. So I had been doing weddings for like really cheap. And I just kind of picked it up. I had a friend that did wedding photography, and she was like, I need a videographer. So it was like a stressful time in my life because I was very poor, but the starving artist, like, I did it. And I'm doing it, I guess, but
it's another reason to move to LA. I think you'll find many people doing the same thing. There's it's like, it's a way of life. I mean, also, it's also kind of like, I think having flexibility when you want to do something creative is also really great. So like, I don't know, I support it.
I know. Sierra actually asked me if I want a position at her job, and I was like, maybe, but then I was like, how flexible is it? Because like, if I need to go to, I don't know, Thailand on a Tuesday, I'm going,
I don't blame you. A lot of deep sea to check out there.
Yeah.
I haven't asked about Clayton. I honestly don't care that much about Clayton, to be frank, but I do have some questions about like the relationship. And I'm sort of curious, like, what's it like dating someone who is very publicly being scrutinized and moreover criticized? Like, as the partner, like, what's that like?
Yeah, it's emotionally taxing for sure. The truth of the matter is that Clayton is like a wonderful person. He has a genuine heart. He has a good soul. And I can vouch for his character, and I would not vouch for his character if I thought otherwise. Like, he is genuinely a good soul, a good person. But I understand why there was so much criticism against him, the way everything happened. And I mean, it was complex for me to be there. It was like it was hard to stand by. But it was a choice that I made to stand by him, and it definitely like tested my abilities to like stand by somebody. And at the end of the day, I knew where his heart was, and I knew it was in a genuine place. So that's ultimately like how I was able to do so.
Why did you guys break up? I genuinely, like, I really enjoyed his season, but then I sort of like, I don't know, like I was really interested to talk to you and like curious about what this whole experience has been like. But I also was sort of, it's funny, like this just might be because I'm getting older. I was like, okay, well, good luck to them. I was just sort of, so I don't even know why you guys broke up.
Yeah. I think that off the bat, like we weren't entirely compatible. And when I was in Iceland, I just felt like I didn't even know him enough in general to want to commit to move forward. And I also knew, I was like, if you are like literally in love with other people, I can't start a healthy relationship like this. Like, this is no way for me to move forward in a healthy environment. And people can say all they want, like, oh, you know what you signed up for, like, you know what you're doing, but like, okay, that's fine. I don't have to bring this home with me if I don't want to. Like, this is my actual life. So like, y'all can say whatever you want about people knowing what they signed up for. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is like a social experiment. This is my real life. And I'm not going to pretend to be okay with anything ever that I have to, bring home to my real life. Like, so I think in general, personally, I don't think that like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette gives you enough time with each other. And so
of course not.
I just think that like, there's a chance that it might work out in the real world. And that would be like by the grace of God, you know what I mean? Like, that's the very small percentage of people that happen to have like real compatibility, and they just happen to work out as the show ends and you go home and you like integrate back into the real world. So I think that there was an element of like, not real compatibility at the beginning, but we went through something so incredibly challenging together that I think it kind of, Yeah, it did. It probably did. And I hate to use the word like trauma bond, but like
I was thinking it too.
I'm like, I don't want to say that, but like we probably went through something that was like very traumatic. We supported each other through it. At the end of the day, we loved each other on like a human friendship level. And then of course we had like chemistry and, actual like relationship love as well. So, it was very tough. It was a tough relationship to be in because there was so much like emotional trauma from the experience. And I think that the reason why we broke up, I just think it came down to compatibility. Like I wanted different things in a partner, and I think he wanted different things in a partner.
Mm-hmm. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at visible.com and use the code visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Would you ever go on a social experiment to find a partner again?
When I ever go into such that's a great question. I certainly don't feel called to at this point. Like people keep asking, oh, would you do Paradise next year? And it really does. Like I joke, but it really does sound like my nightmare. Like I do not want to be in a swimsuit on camera. Like that does not sound like a place in which I'm going to thrive emotionally. Even that, like that element of it. And then it's like you throw in people that you like know casually and like all these really good looking people. And you know that there is going to be a plot twist at some point. Like it's not going to be, it's not just going to be like, oh, here, go have fun. It's like, there's a plot twist. There's emotional turmoil. Like it's going to be brutal probably. So it's not like appealing to me at this point. And even Clayton and I talked about it and I'm like, am I seeing you on my TV next year? But I hope not. Hopefully I'm in a relationship by then.
I hope that for you too. Susie,
Yeah.
you brought up something just now that I think is so universal and seemingly so obvious and very little discussed, which is the discomfort of constantly being in a bathing suit on camera.
I know.
And what that was like, because I'm going to be honest, like some of the moments from Clayton season and your time on the show that stands out the most for me was you guys in like, in swimsuits in Iceland. And I think like that one of the conversations that's sort of like around The Bachelor, but not in or on The Bachelor is like about like body diversity and just sort of like in general, how men and women's bodies are like treated and viewed through on this show. And I think like, and there is a fair amount of conversation about like mental health after being on the show, but I actually think I'm really grateful you brought that up because I think that's just like so not discussed. And like, what was that like having cameras when you're in a bathing suit and then also like having to see yourself on TV in a bathing suit?
Oh yeah, it wasn't like my favorite thing. Like, I know like the first season or the first episode, I was in a swimsuit, but it was a one piece and I felt way more comfortable. The second time I was in a swimsuit on camera was like in Iceland. And I think in general for me, like that's just I think that I was self-conscious that entire day just because I knew I was in a swimsuit, if that makes sense. Like I was like, this is like, not that I'm afraid of anybody like seeing me, but I'm just not that comfortable in general. Like if I'm at a pool, like I'm probably going to have a cover up on personally. But that's like more of just like, I just get uncomfortable. Like that's who I am.
I think that's really common. I think what's funny, and maybe I'm like projecting, but like I just think that that's like so normal and like so common. And it's funny how like reality TV, and I watch a lot of it, not just The Bachelor, like it's such a distorted view, I think, of how people feel about like just, you know, being seen in different like outfits and stuff. I don't know. Was that something that occurred to you before you went on that like maybe that would be a point of discomfort?
Yeah, for sure. I think that like I've definitely struggled with my body image.
You don't have to talk about it then if you don't want to continue.
Oh my gosh, no, I appreciate you saying that, but no, I'm fine to talk about it. I actually think it's good to talk about it because I mean, even watching that scene back in Iceland, I noticed my posture was so poor because I was like, so, I mean, and it's nothing against the show. Like, it's like, what an incredible day. Like, how fun. And if you're with your partner and you're in Iceland, like, hopefully you feel confident and you like enjoy that. And it's supposed to simulate like a real life experience, which would be a real life experience if you're in Iceland. Like, you're going to go to one of these spas or whatever. But for me, like, yeah, that's like one of the things I couldn't get out of my head about there being cameras around. So like, even like kissing on camera was so weird. Like, all of it was like,
can't even imagine.
Yeah, I know. Like I literally was so uncomfortable about just most everything. But yeah, that was something I definitely thought about. And even like the thumbnails from that episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't want this, like I don't want to see this because my posture was so bad. Because when you feel uncomfortable, you try to like shrink yourself, you know, but like, that makes it even worse. And I remember watching it back and been like, oh, I should have just been like so confident. Like I should have my shoulders back, but like, that's just not my reality. So yeah, it's good. I think it's good to talk about it though, because it is,
I agree.
Like, I think that, and I think it's wonderful that like there's people that are confident and feel great doing it. And I think everyone should, but it's just not that natural, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, you know, I think you looked beautiful and looked great throughout the show, which I think also is kind of irrelevant. Like if you didn't feel that way, like I'm sorry to hear that. But I will say, I do think your discomfort with the experience came through. And I don't think it's because of your posture, but it was sort of like clear that you were thinking a lot, that you were like processing things and like gauging your own comfort. Yeah. And I think that like that actually it's really compelling television and probably very hard to live through. And so I can't even imagine what that's like. What was it like for your family to watch you because I just think that very often people they just take the leap. And I don't not like and no, it's not like a good or bad thing to do it or not do it, but like the show encourages it, right? And like we definitely saw that with Gabby when she was Bachelorette. I think Rachel was really hoping for it when she was Bachelorette. And with you, it was clear there was like there was hesitation and you had hold up. So what was it like for the people who know you and love you to experience that through TV and not in real time?
Yeah. I think it was my parents and my family in general are like the most supportive people. And I think that like when Clayton came home to meet my family, the producers, everybody said, this is the easiest hometown we've ever had. And, like,
credit to your family.
Yeah, they're the most chill people. Like the whole day, the producer's like, oh, are you nervous for him to meet your dad? I'm like, literally no. Like Clayton should be nervous to meet me. Like my parents know that I am like the hardest, not in a bad way, but like I hold my partners to a higher standard than like I would say most people do. So like my parents are always like, we will embrace whoever you choose. Like obviously if there was like something bad happening, my parents would say something, but my parents are like, they're not going to judge somebody based on an hour conversation unless there was like major red flags or whatever. But like my parents are like, we trust Susie, like, you know, whatever you want to do, we're going to support you and we are going to embrace whoever you choose. But like, it was my decision not to get engaged. It was like, there was the opportunity to get engaged at wherever we wanted to. And I was like, it's a no from me, you know, like I am not putting a ring on my finger. And I was very adamant about that throughout, like pretty much from the time that I made that decision in Iceland up until the final show. I was not going to put a ring on my finger because I don't want to.
Yeah.
And nobody was going to convince me otherwise. So like that to me, it's like, and my parents know, like, they're not going to sit there and try to convince me of anything, either direction, unless there was like actually a major red flag of like, this person has a character flaw. And obviously with them knowing the behind the scenes and like all the stuff that like the world doesn't know, they also had like empathy and understanding of the situation. But they were very supportive. My brother cried on one of the episodes. I want to say, it was the Fantasy Suite episode. I was sitting beside him and he just like looked over at me and he had tears in his eyes. And like, we're not like a super affectionate family, but he just reached over and like grabbed my hand and he was like, I'm so proud of you. Like,
Aww.
I just want you to know, like, I really admire you. And my brother actually didn't know that I was with Clayton at the time. They didn't find out until like the week of the finale. So, it was very supportive.
Wow. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the other dating shows? Like, have you watched Love is Blind or The Ultimatum or like anything like that?
I did in 2020. So like I watched Love is Blind, the first season. I watched, I want to say it was called Love Island.
Oh yeah, of course. Love Island is very popular, Susie.
Yeah. I want to say that one show. It was just 2020 though. It was the year of like reality TV. So I haven't really watched any since, but I've actually decided I'm going to try to get into it. I'm sure I will. There'll be addicted and stuff, but like,
what are you going to get into?
Oh, that's a good question. What should I watch? What is the one?
If you want to have the most fun, I'd say Below Deck Sailing Yacht and Below Deck in general. Just a great show.
Okay, that sounds fun.
I could see you on Below Deck, actually. Like I could see you
applications.
I don't know. Like, do you want to be a yachty? I could see you being like a deckhand.
I would so be a deckhand. Or I'll scrub the barnacles off the bottom of the boat. What is that job?
Yeah, that's being a deckhand. You'd be a decky.
I would do it.
I could see you being on Below Deck. Would you go on another reality show, even if it's like, would you be the Bachelorette and would you go on a reality show?
Two very different questions, but I actually joke. I keep joking because people keep asking it and the producers are probably like so annoyed at me. I keep saying, if they want to make me an executive producer, I'll do the Bachelorette, but I know they will never do that. But I'm like, if I had creative control, if I had control over a season of it, then yeah, I would do it.
I don't see Mike Fleiss agreeing to that.
Mike Fleiss, if you're listening, we could be besties. Like, just name me executive producer. Like, the show's going to be like so elevated. I have so many ideas. It's going to be great. But also I just want that producer credit on, my IMDb. I'm just kidding.
No, you need it. You're trying to make a career here. I admire it.
Thank you. But as far as like reality TV goes, like something like Below Deck, I mean, I've seen some previews and like, I might've even seen an episode that actually sounds so fun. I think just like a show in which my emotional well-being isn't being like exploited for entertainment, which like, who doesn't love that? Like, that sounds great. But yeah, something like Below Deck, that would be so fun. Like, I think it would be fun to do something like that. But
are you an athlete at all?
I do jujitsu.
Oh, right. Yeah. Maybe you should go on the challenge. That's also like, seems a little bit more fun. I get the impression you are an extrovert based on this conversation and might like the sort of like a group reality show versus like an individual competition.
Oh, I actually think that like to an extent that's for sure accurate. I feel like I'm an extrovert. I'm really good at being an extrovert, but I love being an introvert. Like, I'm such a lone wolf. My dad's always like telling me, he's like, nobody ever knows, but you're such a loner. Like, I just, even as a high schooler, like I was always so social, but like catch me Friday night in my room on my laptop, like deep on chat roulette or doing some crazy stuff as a teenager, like just doing weird stuff. Like, I think, yes, I'm great at being an extrovert and I love humans, but like I recharge alone for sure.
I recently told like many people in my life that I don't like hanging out at night. And I'm like, I'd be happy to see you between the hours of like 9 and 7, and afterwards probably not. So I understand.
Literally, I'm like 9 and 7, the average workday when most people are not able to hang out. I'm happy to see you, but then after that, no.
Well, so it's just the workday. Yeah, the workday you interact with people, so it's a lot. It's a lot. I have one more question for you. Okay. Have you and Hannah Brown ever been in the same room?
Wouldn't you like to know?
It's uncanny, Susie.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm flattered because I think she's so beautiful. So thank you. But no, we've never been in the same room. So nobody's ever seen us at the same, at the same time, the same place. So I don't know.
When I saw the clips of you on the Vial Files on like Instagram, I was like, oh, Hannah was on his show. And then I realized it was you.
Oh my God. I'm so flattered. I will say, like, I sometimes am so caught off guard by it, but like sometimes I will see a picture of her and think like, when did I get so hot? Like I'll literally be like, oh my God. I'm like, who is she? Who captured this candid of me? And then I realized I'm like, oh, that's Hannah Brown. Like I was thinking it's funny. People called me the Walmart version of Hannah Brown. And I was like, honestly, I'll take it. Like, thank you.
I can't be sure we never said that. So I apologize if we did.
No, I'm flattered. Walmart has everything. You know what I mean? So
great prices.
Great. Exactly. I'm Hannah Brown at a great price.
That's a perfect note to wrap this up. Susie, it was really lovely chatting with you. I wish you the best of luck in your career and finding your niche in Palm Springs. Looking forward to seeing what you do next. Yeah, and thank you to Erika Cervantes for producing this episode, and I hope you all have a great weekend.